All right, welcome to part 2 of cross-country collaboration reviews. We're reviewing a figure that I was wanting to get rid of a while ago, and
I was going to review it and bring it home. He said he was going to give it to me, but I have no room in my bags, so we're just doing it here.
Yeah, it works out, and you don't want to keep it anyway.
No.
So, this is the CollectA 2015 Deluxe Feathered Tyrannosaurus, and this is just a fascinating case of a figure to me, because it's one that was so strongly hyped up, and I personally am responsible for, like, a large portion of the hype for it, and now I'm just like, it's not good.
It's not.
I'll let you just take it and sum up some of the problems with it, I guess.
One thing I will say, I'll sort of go over my pros with it, because unlike our Tyrannosaurus review, there was a lack of that. The size impresses me and the general weight of it, because a lot of deluxe CollectA figures are really on the light, hollow side.
Agreed. This one's really hefty for some reason.
It is really hefty, so it feels like you're getting your worth of money in plastic for this one. Another thing that impressed me was the paint application. I think the application of the colors is nice. There's some little gradients and shading with some of the browns in there, and sculpt work is pretty good in general. I like the texture on the feathers. It's not the best in the world, but it's okay. I think that's pretty much everything, though. The first glaring thing to me when I look at this is the seam lines on the legs are really bad.
and I should say as well, like, to give further context, because I don't want to just, like, blindly say, oh, it's bad now. Like, I understand why this figure was such a big deal, because it was the first major, like, nice-looking feathered Rex. Of course, now we're not even thinking T-Rex had feathers anymore, so it's a little less exciting, but I still get contextually why it was a big deal, and I have fond memories of it stuff, and the promo pictures do make it look better than it is. It looks a lot darker and kind of cooler, and I still definitely, like, this review is one of my more popular review videos, and it's definitely like an important memory to me on YouTube.
We're making history here with, like, your revisit.
Totally, and I'm excited to revisit it. So I do want to have some appreciation for this figure. Its mouth is full of cobwebs. This is just one of those things where the more time has gone on, the more I've found problems with it. Like you say, the seam lines on the legs are just awful. We can shoot some B-roll here for it, so you can see.
Oh, that's right. I need B-roll.
Yes,
I can't take them with me.
But yeah, the seam line where the scaly part of the leg meets the feathered part of the leg is just awful. It's horrendous.
It's really bad.
And the seam lines around the head are not too great either. I'm really glad
that... This is more typical CollectA 2014-2015 era.
True. The legs are really, like, exceptional.
Yeah.
The feet are also weird. They're very old CollectA theropod feet with the huge claws and kind of the stubby toes. And in general, it's got really skinny legs with really long ankles. The leg structure is very strange.
The tail is just huge.
The tail is so long
wiggly.
and so wiggly. It's way too much tail. It's got Carnegie syndrome, where a lot of Carnegie figures back in the day, they got better at this as Carnegie went along, but around the era of, like, the second Allosaurus sculpt, they had a lot of long wiggly tails. This is just, like, the epitome of that type of issue. The head as well. It's a very bulbous, bulky head. It's got fangs. It's not a Jurassic Park head, but it's not really an accurate T-Rex head either. It's just kind of meh.
Well, I was going to say, if you repaint that with, like, the Bull T-Rex colors, I think it would be close enough, you know?
Yeah, well, it's got the bulk and the rounded, big, like, snout, the very convex nasal ridge. And there are other good T-Rex figures that are guilty of having kind of Jurassic Park-like heads, even like the Safari Feathered Rex, which is another figure that was really hyped up that I've cooled down on, but far less than this.
It's way better than this.
It's way better than this. But it does have a somewhat Jurassic Park-like head. This one, though, like, it's even thicker than the Safari one's head. Like, top to bottom along the snout, it's just got such a tall head.
Yeah.
It does have really nice binocular vision, which is cool.
That's one thing a lot of people, like, tend to forget when they're making T-Rexes, at least new companies.
Yeah.
Is their binocular vision is such an important thing.
And the eyes on this one are super symmetrical, and they look really cool. Yeah. Another thing I'm not the hugest fan of are the colors. I don't wholly dislike the CollectA T-Rex colors, but I think they're done better on, like, the Hunting Rex, where they're more desaturated, or even the Roaring Rex has different distribution that I like a bit better. This one, it's not bad, but just the the very like pine green or pine kind of teal color.
It's Christmassy.
It is Christmassy in a weird way. I also don't really like the sculpting on the feather crest, how it comes up here like to a point.
Looks like a cardinal head or something.
Yeah.
It's really weird.
It doesn't quite work for me. The black striping on the head is pretty cool, and I like that it goes from the top piece to the jaw perfectly fine, like, looks consistent.
The war paint on the head is good. Like, that's one thing I really like about CollectA is the random, like, stripes, like their Carnotaurus, their Torovosaurus. I think
totally.
That's what's really cool about their style, is a lot of companies don't really do that. But in regards to the colors, since we're on this topic, I've grown more appreciation for the colors on this one since they released their Roaring Rex in 2018, because the Roaring Rex has potential in the sculpt. The sculpt looks good. It's still got some issues, but the colors are literally just these, but they bleed from the feather mane down the back onto the skin.
Yeah,
and you don't.
It feels
see
like
that
a
in
mistranslation. I like how it looks. I like the Roaring Rex more than this one overall, but
I do as well.
But yeah, no, I agree. I forgot about that bit with the paint.
Because you look at birds today, like an ostrich that has big featherless legs or whatever, and you don't see the color of the feathers bleeding down onto the skin.
I feel like there's some places where I can think of like color translating a little more consistently, but the way they did it looks pretty unnatural.
It just doesn't work on that one.
This one also has very weird cheeks. The cheeks are like just semicircles that stick out, and they don't look right. He also has very large squale. Squale. He has squales.
He's got squales, man.
There's square scales, which is how that just happened. All along the bottom, kind of crocodilian.
I'm going to steal that now. Whenever I review like a prehistoric crocodilian, we're going to say, "Look at all these squales."
Look at the squales. But yeah, I think this figure still has some things going for it. The overall look of it is still kind of nice. It's got a decent pose and silhouette, but it's just funny looking back on how excited I was for this and how many T-Rex figures I prefer to it now.
Yeah.
Like, if you ask me what my favorite T-Rex figures are now, I'd say, like, CollectA Hunting Rex, Safari Feather Rex, the new Wilson from PNSO, and 2014 Carnegie Rex. Like, I don't even think of this figure anymore.
Yeah.
And again, it's not wholly bad.
Don't forget the new Andrea for PNSO. Oh. We know we all love that one.
Oh, yeah. We love it. With its legs that have been compressed in a car crusher. I think that's everything I have to say. At the time, I would have given this figure a 10 out of 10. Of course, I was using a different rating system back then, but it would have been a 10. Now, I'd give this figure about like a 6 or a 7, I think. Probably like a 6.5.
I think I agree. I think it's a 6 for me.
Yeah.
Where it stands. It's got a really unique visual style, and it'll stand out on your shelf. It's also pretty darn big, but it doesn't speak T-Rex to me. Yeah,
it's got a lot of problems. As well, it's shrink wrapped on the face. I forgot to mention. That's kind of obvious because it's CollectA circa 2015, but
It also has the classic bird scoots going down the feet, very large on this one.
Very large on this one.
We thought they would be very minimal if not having them.
Yeah, because the iconic like scoots on the feet of birds are actually de-evolved feathers.
Yes.
So there's very little reason to think that they would be on actual theropod non-avian dinosaurs. But anyhow, fun fact of the day.
Fun fact of the day, and for comparison, because we're lazy to dig other things out, we have this Chad.
Yes.
I mean,
the two CollectA, the only two CollectA Rexes. There's no others.
Yeah. There's no other CollectA Rex.
I literally said, I'll grab my juvenile and my hunting Rex, and then I was like, I put them in storage and I'm not sure where they are. So we just grabbed this Procon Rex, which, hey, it is the same company at least.
It is.
But yeah, well, that's about it. Thank you for watching. I'm glad that I got to revisit this and that you got to review it. This was fun. I'll see you all next time. Thank you for watching. Bye.